Welcome back to episode 3 of the Unscriptd podcast. Today we have a special guest on who we've spoken about before. Rhys Gordon, introduce yourself.
How are you, boys?
Very good.
Thanks for coming on, mate.
It's an absolute honour to be the first guest on this podcast. I've enjoyed the process of these past two. So let's see how this one goes, hey?
Good. I'm excited.
We're very looking forward to it.
Yeah. No, it's grateful. Thank you so much.
So tell everyone who you are.
So I'm a Gold Coast real estate agent specialising in residential and development, sales. You guys know me as Gordo. But yeah, what's the guy's name? Gordon Belford.
Gordon Belford.
See, I knew you carried me there. Yeah.
So let's take it all the way back to the barbershop where we first met.
Yep. Funny one. Barbershop. So I first met JJ at a barbershop, believe it or not, which is a really funny thing. You weren't there.
No,
you were out of the picture this time. I didn't
right.
know who you were. I'd be gobsmacked if I knew who you were back then. Absolute Prince Charlie.
Serious trouble.
We met at a barbershop. I walked in, you were already sitting there, and it's suit on, the whole works. And you had a good old tradie outfit on.
I did. I was working, grinding back at the Kmart.
Tradie disguised as a Kmart employee.
Yes.
I did not understand it.
Mate.
Absolute mixed bag. It was,
we had the work ethic.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Basically run the joint.
Well, you had. Well, I did help sell that joint back in the day. That's been my barbershop for probably 4 years. But you had work boots on, a Kmart top, and cargo pants.
That's right.
I couldn't fathom it.
I just do it all, jack of all trades.
Yeah. Keep saying that.
Must have known.
Exactly. No, mate, we were sitting in there and the conversation got started about, I don't know, what I do, what you wanted to do after school, and you were coming to that end of finishing school. You're quite an academic person, so I could see the cogs ticking over in your brain about what you're going to do, who you're going to be, all those sort of undefining things that you don't know until you get out there. But we chatted really well, and then you stalked me.
I did. I enjoyed the conversation so much.
First male stalker I've ever had.
He come home and he told one of our other mates, and he was hooked. So
I was so hooked. I enjoyed the conversation. I messaged our barber for your phone number, even though that you're a real estate agent. Your phone number's all over the internet.
Man, my cards are in that shop with my face on it.
There you go. Well, anyways, I asked him for your
number.
Some
kid went in there the other day and goes, "I want this haircut," and he was holding up my photo. Like, that's when you know you've made it.
Jesus.
Well done.
Yeah.
No, but I reached out to you and we chatted a little bit more. We organised a phone call with me, Sard, and one of our other mates.
What was it? Was it the phone call that we did first, or was it the gym sesh?
No, it was definitely
phone call because we had the 100 questions for you. Remember when you came with our list?
Yeah.
And then we come here one morning. Us three again came here one morning and trained. And we did.
Was it before school or after school? After school. Must have been after school, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I thought we were in exams at this time.
Actually, it was
we
exams.
hadn't graduated yet.
Yeah, it was exams.
That's right.
Was exams, right. Yeah.
But that was basically the first time we met, and then just started hanging out more. And
well, kudos to you for giving me the phone call, at the start anyway. We had really good conversation, man. I think you got a haircut before me, so we sat there for a good 45 minutes. Hater sometimes can take an hour and a half if he wanted to.
He does.
He's a perfectionist, that man. But you had your head screwed on, so I was more than happy to share my time with you. And then you jumped on the phone and you guys came to me with questions, which was awesome. I appreciated it.
Well, look what's coming up now.
I know, right? Here we are. The Three Musketeers.
That's right. And we started chatting more, we started training a little bit more, and then one thing led to another. I didn't really know what I was going to do after school, and you kind of said, well, if you want, you can come work for me. And
can't believe I said that so soon.
I know.
Yeah.
That's how much faith you had in me.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I'm young as well, right? So you're 19, you're 18, and I'm 24 now. So I'm youthful still, right? And I've been around long enough and know enough shonky people and whatnot to see who's good and who's bad.
There you go. But anyway, so I ended up working for you out of school, and
how'd you like that experience?
I loved it. I wouldn't do it now.
Yeah. But
I wouldn't take it back either.
Yeah.
I loved it.
It's very sad days that I have of you leaving, memories and all.
Well,
I do all the time. I want you back. I always take you back.
Good, thanks, mate.
Yeah.
That's what Kmart said to me as well.
That's Kmart.
But
Kmart brings up Kmart.
No, I sound a bit fucking wanky, but
you're either a Kellogg's kid or a Kmart kid. You're both of them, aren't you? Sorry to interrupt. Go.
No, I know I have a good work ethic, and I just didn't have anything to really work hard on at the time. And then even though like I really still didn't know what I was doing, I could just, this was something where I could have my laptop, didn't need to be anywhere, I could just work hard and just do it. And I fucking was like, I don't know, it just gave me something to do, and I just fucking loved it. And I ended up learning a lot from it.
It's a fortunate thing. Like, not many kids straight out of school get the opportunity to work straight into real estate, or just even just get someone that goes home out. I'd love you to work for. It's hard to get a job nowadays.
It's quite ironic, this guy working remotely from his laptop, isn't it?
It is. We'll speak about. That's another episode as well.
I want to hear that. No, but even yourself, you, Saji, you came to me when we first talked about what you wanted to do.
Correct, because at this stage in time, I was set on moving out to Toowoomba. I was going to do a Q Cup pre-season out there.
Yeah.
I was actually interested in real estate as well. I wanted to train and do real estate, so I kind of came to you with a few questions. And
you were Clydesdales.
That's right, and you're essentially the one who told me to fuck the idea of real estate off because working weekends, long hours, and it wouldn't really fit in my training. So that kind of threw a spanner in the works because I knew I wanted to play footy, but I didn't know what else I wanted to do. But as we've spoken about in previous podcasts, me and him wanted to do some sort of business thing, and we wanted to be entrepreneurial.
Well, I threw you guys off, right? I remember this conversation. Now it's all coming back to me. We're on the phone. Yourself and Taylor were playing football, and I said you got to give it everything. I said you can't half-ass if you want to be a professional athlete. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. And I already knew this, and hence what I mentioned on last week's podcast. I'm very aware that it's all in or all out.
Yeah, you got to go hard at something.
Well, especially footy, man. We live in Australia. Like, it's a tough sport to crack it in. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you didn't do it. Still doing it though. Go, Wally.
So, take us back. Like you said, you're not that much older than us. So it was only 5 years ago that you were in our position, finishing school. And getting out into the big bad world. I mean, you probably jumped into the big bad world earlier than we did, but
depends what you mean by bad. But anyway,
a lot of bad out there.
A lot of darkness.
Tell us what was going on.
So I went to a private school on the Gold Coast for 15 years. From pre-prep all the way to year 12. I got expelled in year 12. That was a big turning point in my life. And I was devastated. I was rugby captain. What are they? Not school captain. Was never a kick in. Was a kick in for that. Shoe in. Sorry.
Wow.
Yeah. But just never got there because I just.
Were you homeschooled?
Yeah. Oh, that's the best call ever. No, but I was a good kid in some respects until the elder years of my teenage life. But I ended up going to I got expelled. Right. Parents were devastated. I was devastated. Had to do something. Parents lived overseas. I was pretty well by myself. So I put myself in a accelerated program of high school. Have you guys heard about those?
Yes.
You heard about it?
No, but going to Kieber Park, it's funny that I haven't because a lot of people
would.
You'd think so.
Yeah. Well, I finished school in 3 months, right? So I was done 3 months. I was done 9 months pretty well ahead of everyone else. I was done in the first 3 months of the year. Yeah, like I was in and out.
So what did that look like? Can you go into a bit of depth behind that?
3 days a week at school, 2 to 3 hours a day. Of those 3 days, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And that was it. It was very easy. I was doing business diplomas and all those sort of little certificates, a certificate in accounting, all that sort of little jazz. So for me, I breezed through it all with enough points to finish because it was different back then. What do you have, ATAR now?
ATAR.
Yeah, I can't even remember what we were so long ago.
Wow, that's...
Yeah, we didn't do ATAR. OP. Yeah. So I was scheduled to get an OP of about probably 8.
I don't know what ATAR equivalent that is.
Pretty high. High. Like,
what's the scale? Is it
maybe 7, 8? I don't know.
Is it out of 10?
I wasn't dumb, but I wasn't smart.
It goes it's like OP1 is the best you can get.
Yeah.
And then it goes all the way up to like fucking.
It's like I think there was 2 OP1s at my school, and we were a private school, right?
That's like a 99.95 ATAR.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so that's good.
Yeah.
Those blokes that have never seen sunlight in their life.
Mate, I got a good ATAR and I've seen some sunlight.
Yeah, I know, but you're different, right?
That's right. And then
I look like I haven't seen sunlight. Oh, it's killer.
And then you jump straight into sales?
Straight into sales, yep. So on those 3 days a week that I was at school, I was also had pretty well part-time, full-time, you can sort of say what it is, doing sales. So I went straight into appointment setting in sales.
Yeah.
That's good to have. Would you say that growing up as a kid that you were quite good at going out and putting yourself in situations to meet new people, and would you develop friends easily?
Yeah. it's second nature to me. So I'm a big people's person, right? It's part of the reason why we have such a relationship.
Well, that must be why you do still in sales then.
Well, it's not that. It's more sales. Sales is a very, very different game towards making friends. Like I wanted to name this podcast today. What was it? Making friends and influencing people. Because it's one of the biggest things you can do in life to get you somewhere.
Absolutely.
And it's about who you know, not what you know. So
Your network is your net worth.
Yeah. It was second nature. Yeah.
Very nice.
That's good. And so back to, when you were in school, you were big on sports. And I know from obviously our relationship, you were quite the gun at baseball.
Yeah, I was a
And that
baseball
took you
player.
overseas.
Yeah. It took me overseas many times.
What's living over in Hong Kong like?
Well, I didn't play baseball in Hong Kong. I lived in Hong Kong. So my stepfather was a pilot.
Yeah.
And for Cathay Pacific. So we would go over to Hong Kong quite often when I was a young kid. And then at some stage, it was pretty well, ship over to Hong Kong for quite a while. It was interesting, right? It was different. I've traveled a hell of a lot. So I've traveled more than probably anyone I know for the mere fact that my father was a pilot, but my mother also worked away a lot and she'd go away for, months of the year and come home and just want to have a holiday. So we go away all the time.
Now, is it true that whilst you were in Hong Kong, you did some modelling?
Yeah. Lots of modeling. Yeah. How did you know that? I don't want to know.
Like they said, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Okay. All right. Cool. No, but I played baseball for Australia for a little bit.
Yeah.
I've been to China, America, Japan. I really wanted to try and crack it in baseball. But it's such a big sport over in America, and America's the hub, right? So if you don't crack it early, you're never going to crack it. And so when I was your age, this is what I told you about sports. I've been there. I was, one of the top players, around, and I had to let it go because I wasn't going to make it.
Now, okay, this is something that I find interesting.
Yep.
How was that to let go for you? Because obviously I myself have grown up, that's all I ever wanted to be an athlete, right? And how did you find the process of, I guess, stepping away from sport and transitioning into business? Like, did you find that as a piece of you left? Or?
For me, it was pretty easy because my family are very business minded. So my parents and my family and my grandparents raised me as well. So they're very, very business minded. If you got to look at it in the respects of if you're not going to make it early, in my opinion, there's no use trying to run out the course of your life chasing something that you don't have the talent in.
It's interesting that though, because some of the greatest athletes in the world are quite the contrary. They didn't make it for ages and they got the cuts, and anybody that was looking at them would say, fuck, you're not going to make it, mate. But I think they grind out their life, and then at the end of the day, they're the big story. So, but
I think the difference there though is there's a difference between the people who they don't look like they're going to make it from everyone else's perspective, but in their own heart and their own mind, they know they will. Whereas I guess if there's someone who doesn't believe themselves, I guess that's assuming it's what you're going on.
It wasn't belief, it was more, you know how it is, rep teams, all those sort of things. And people say it's politics and all this jazz. I couldn't give a shit. It's not politics. If you're a good player, you're a good player.
That's right.
And it all depends where your heart lies. Yep. So I slowly fell out towards baseball because I was a good player. My general teams around here were too shit for me to compete because I was just slogging the ball around, absolutely hating it.
Yeah.
I'd go and play in upper divisions and get absolutely smoked because I'm 14 playing against blokes that are playing Australian Baseball League or been to America. In baseball, it was so hard in Australia because there's no medium. There's no middle between all of that.
Can you give us a bit of insight to what baseball in Australia is like? Because to be honest, outside of yourself, I think I've heard of one other person. What is it like? Is there a big fan base? Like, do many people play?
We have an Australian Baseball League. It's sort of like, I compare it towards the basketball league that we have here. I think it's called it's not NBA. NBL, National Basketball League.
Well, that's pretty prestige, I guess, because a lot of the people, like younger people who are transitioning to the NBA or post-NBA will come through the NBL. So I guess that's quite high level. So if that's the case,
it's in some respects to that. Like Australia, we'd probably rank top 6 in the world. Maybe top 4, top 3 on a good year.
And is that out of all 7 countries that play?
Yeah, as a national team. Well, there is, mate. There might be 13 countries that play, but you're dominated by America and Japan.
Oh yeah.
And they dominate it. It's like a main sport.
Well, the best player in the world is Japanese, correct?
Yeah, Otani. He's really good. He's really good. They're actually in the World Series at the moment.
I know nothing about baseball, so you just speaking.
This is one thing and sorry to harp about baseball, but I just read yesterday the Dodgers. So it's the Dodgers and the New York Yankees currently in the World Series. All right. the Dodgers roster, the yearly salaries for the combined team, and there's probably about, I'm going to say maybe 40 people on the team, maybe more. Okay, 40 max, actually, probably mid-30s. It's $256 million a year is how much for those 40 people it costs. Mate, so Shohei Ohtani is on a $700 million over an 11-year contract.
Jesus.
That
Huge.
is a big money.
When I was younger, I was looking at the money in baseball.
Yeah.
Like, there's kids here. I've got mates who are getting signed overseas, and they're getting $1 million contract at your age just to sign with teams.
That's so crazy because, like, you got your Nathan Clearys and the Kalen Pongas at NRL, and they're top of the scale, like 1.3, 1.4 mil. That's top class as well. And then
Mate,
you got
that's bottom level. That's base pay for a baseball player. Base pay that you get paid as a baseball player over there is about $700,000 a year.
Yeah.
But that's like the lowest you're actually allowed to get paid.
Yeah. I know a lot of American sports. Their bottom threshold is quite high.
Yeah, it's almost $1 million.
That's wild.
And that's USD.
Yeah, it's nuts.
So that was a big driver. Baseball. That's why I played baseball and like baseball. Money, right? You know.
Oh, as you do. You like.
Quick question before we go off topic.
Go.
Do you think money buys happiness?
Yep. Yeah, I couldn't give a shit what anyone says. Money does buy happiness. You boys know the way I spend money.
Yes. I'm fucking mad, man.
It's not about. If anyone who tells you that money can't buy happiness, then they haven't experienced enough with money.
We've said it before. It's an amplifier. I believe that with the correct personality, you can have money and live the best life ever. Where if you've got a shit personality, you're gonna have a sad life whether you got money, you got no money, right? So
100%.
I also believe that you don't have to have money to be. You can be, and it depends who you are and what you want.
Yeah.
But like you can have not much money but be absolutely fucking loving life.
Yep.
On the contrary, you can have lots of money and not be happy.
I've talked to you boys about this, right? Like the way of money buys not my happiness, but it buys experiences, and everyone talks about experiences. But when you boys, when you got money, you've come on journeys with me, man. You've come out with me. You've been blessed, right? When you walk into a room and people know it and sort of stuff, it puts you at a higher caliber and gets you a little bit more respect. And it depends where you take that respect. But yeah, money buys experiences.
Well, let's talk about. I want to talk about mentorship and people that you kind of look up to, because for us, I mean, you could say that you've kind of given us a bit of a mentor-mentee relationship, and I want to know,
how's that been for you guys? Me being, older, and the relationship that we've got. How do you see that?
I'm glad you asked this question. I
want to know this first before I say my answer.
Because, like I've said to you many times, I speak about it a lot, is that the best the best way to be the best person you can be is to take different parts of different people.
Yep.
And for you being a mentor, I will take my hat. I've always had the piss out of you. You've taught me a lot of things, and I'm very grateful for it. But you've also told me a lot what not to do, which I'm also grateful for. So it's good. But
I'm an open book to you guys, right? You guys have seen me down. You see me happy. Yep. You see me on my best times. My worst, all sorts of things, right?
I appreciate it.
Intoxicated.
I don't appreciate that, especially on this fucking same golf team. I really don't appreciate that. Really
don't. Bad one. Yeah, you still haven't forgotten about that, or
I'll never forgive you for that.
I'm sorry about that, Sargi.
But to pay it back, you've actually given me a lot of nice clothes. This shirt I'm wearing right now, you gave me a nice pair of shoes. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anything for you, man.
No, but definitely.
No, it gives me happiness, man. Seeing. Hang on. So I'm going to interrupt this because it's just one of those things. I'm not going to answer it, but this is a client of mine. This is for the biggest deal I've ever done in my life. So I just did, yeah. I'm not going to answer it, but whoops. Don't look, Mars, if you see this, I'm so sorry, bro. I'm busy.
That's actually who probably about to talk
Mentors
about.
was, yeah.
Yeah, so for yourself, who has been a mentor and kind of influenced you in your life?
It's a big one, and I think mentorship is it's a massive part of evolution. For me, growing up as a kid, my grandfather was my biggest mentor, and he still to this day is one of the best blokes I know. He raised me pretty well, taught me all my manners, absolutely everything, down to a T, respect, all sorts of things. He's a very hard worker. Mentorship can come in two different ways, and I like to look at it the fact if your family is always going to tell you what you want to hear, and they're always going to be there to support you. So when you get a little bit older, like you guys are now, you got to look towards mentors that don't have that emotion. So I've been fortunate enough to have, a boss that I really enjoy hanging out with, and he's a great mentor to me, and he wants the best for me, which is very hard for some people. Jesse, Mr. Wilcox, he said to me very early in the piece that he wants me to be, better than him, outgrow him, which is something you never usually get. People want to put a cap on you. And then Nazi Dib, absolute gentleman. Naz and I sold him a property, and now look at us. He's my best mate. He's 55 and I'm 24 years old, and we're like father and son. But it's not that on that level. It's also on a business level as well. We do developments together.
That's awesome.
And those other little pieces that you take away from mentorship, the bosses that I've had when I was, younger, mentorship can form you and break you. So you've got to be very picky, like you said, towards, who you listen to and what you listen to.
It's interesting though, because like you say, you got to be very picky, which I 100% agree. But I feel that in terms of mentor, it's one of those things that I guess stumbles into your life where it's unexpected. Like it's not something that I wouldn't say either of us were actively looking for one. And it's one of those things I believe that just comes along. And you came into our life at the perfect time. Like we both have great mentors in our family. I was like my dad, he's a great mentor for me, and I've got plenty of other great people to look at, and it offers a different perspective of someone like you. Didn't know me when I was growing up, so it's kind of all you can see is what we've put out now. So it's good to
And I hate to say it and toot my own horn, but like I do this for you guys because I it's not that everyone always says I never had it, right? I've had it, but in different forms, but it wasn't as relatable. See, people used to always tell me what not to do, and they're older, like considerably older, right? Like in their 40s, 50s.
Yeah.
And I'd look at it and be like, oh yeah, okay. But like when I say it to you guys, not what to do and what to do, like I say it from a point of love, because I've done it only recently, right? Like I'm not that far away from you guys, which is I think why you can sort of listen to me a bit more.
Yeah. Well, I think a big thing, and probably where I saw our relationship being like quite significant, was actually when I decided to step away from working with you and coming out of the business. I'll be completely honest, like we'd be working together for maybe 3 months, and I was enjoying it at the time, and this is kind of when we started looking at business ventures and doing our own thing, and what we now have is Linux Media. And I was like, okay, it's getting to a point now where I don't really want to keep doing real estate. I'd much rather do this instead. And I was fucking like, geez, I don't know how to tell him this. I don't know how to tell him I don't want to work anymore.
You went to bed the night before really scared about that phone call.
I think I did.
You did, man.
I would have. And anyway, I made the call and I said, look, I think that me and Sarge are going to give this thing a crack, and I don't know if I want to keep doing real estate. And you are very much a helping hand. And
Saddest day of my career.
Yeah.
And you're still welcome back anytime.
Thank you.
How much do you want to pay?
Well, any amount can be more than the Links Media's hourly rate.
Yeah, but this is the thing, and to touch that topic of progression. So JJ started with me as pretty well like a sales associate. I put you in the deep end because that's how you have to learn. Is you had to learn how to go through the no's and the yeses and run that exhilarating high of phone calls, right? Which is what your job was. And I did it. It's how I became who I am. So why wouldn't I teach you the same way that I was taught?
Oh, like I said, I've said many times, I've learned so much. I wouldn't take it back for the world doing real estate, as much as I wouldn't go back and do it now. And I love this, but it's so good. I learned fucking so much. Just being able to speak to, be comfortable to speaking to people that I don't know, and so much.
Now I'm gonna tell the viewers this because I know it off the back of my hand because I remember this day very well, right? So JJ calls me. He goes, and this time you were building boats.
I was.
You were David Goggins of the real life.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
We used to drive around. JJ, we go on fancy lunches.
Yeah, you guys live the fucking high life, love.
You're building boats, sweating your ring out in a fucking factory.
Yeah.
But it was good though. It was good to see you like that. You two didn't get to hang out much, It was one of those things that wrecked your social life as well, because then you were driving up to Ipswich to Jets. You're doing a lot.
Nice.
When you called me and you said you want to do something, it gave me the biggest pride, because the best thing for me was you were very shocked with how I said this. You go, I want to do this. I want to do my own thing. I said, please do it. I said, do it because I want you to do it.
Yeah.
Because if I was a guy, I've had this, you know, and this is why it's so easy for me. Is I've had people limit me from doing my own thing, and that confined me to staying with them, or, you know, vice versa, whatever it was. So you telling me you want to do your own thing, mate, I have full support, and you guys know you've got my full support.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was saying earlier. Is it? I know that I felt so much more from then on. The relationship was like completely different. I just felt like I don't know, just first person, or not the first person, but you like just believed and like pushed it. And when I thought I was expecting to be, you know, fucking know you, like you work with me, you know, kind of thing.
No,
and it
never.
was the complete opposite. And I don't know.
I'm the biggest advocate for young people giving it a crack.
From the outside looking in, like, because obviously I'm involved with the whole process now. It's me and Wallace doing it together. But from an outside perspective on this interaction alone, I have a lot of respect. For
mate, I loved it so much that the next 2 phone calls was one to my mum, going, "Hey mum, this is what's happened, and I'm so happy." The next one was to my grandfather. Said to him, I said, "Grandpa, it gives me so much pride to say to this young kid that I want him to go do his own thing." Gave me so much pride to be able to do that. And it did.
No, I mean,
you know?
it was very, like, for us as well, not only just in between us and our relationship, like, it gave us so much more, I suppose, confidence and freedom to actually get in and give it a crack.
But that's the sort of mentor that you want, boys.
Yeah, exactly.
You want that sort of person. To everyone watching this as well, if you haven't got these sort of people in your life that are uplifting and trying to help you in every aspect, mate, I give Sargy clothes off my back for him to look better. So when he does his buddy yes and no thing at the gym, trying to get chicks' phone numbers, he looks his best.
That's right.
You know?
And even though he still, despite getting clothes, he still wears the same clothes he wears 4 or 5 times a week.
It's about consistency. I've spoken about this in many videos. The ultimate thing for success, consistency.
Consistency. So when you go to the gym wearing the same clothes for a week, that a chick knows exactly who you are.
It's right.
Because they have this in their mind.
She forms that sense of, fuck, this guy's just a killer. He's getting up day after day. And one day, it's all going to come together. I'm going to have to turn them down. I have knock after knock on the door. I'm like, come on, ladies, it's enough.
What's that chick at your gym? Nanny Coleman?
Nanny Coleman.
You've got to do one to her.
Kick my door down.
Nanny Coleman's like old and jacked.
It's no good.
Great look for you. What else we got? What else we got to
talk? Coming up to this, when we're organising you to come on, you said you wanted to speak about expectation and, you know, being successful and seeing success at a young age, and for us now kind of going into the entrepreneurship and journey and us kind of experiencing little bits of success, and on that journey, I suppose, there's a different level of expectation, I think. Let's talk about that.
When you say expectation, are you talking self-expectation or external expectation?
Both.
It's interesting because I think that the biggest form of expectation should come from within, right? You should be able to set your biggest aspirations should be from yourself. It shouldn't be what everyone else thinks or wants of you, because at the end of the day, it's you versus you, right? So start with yourself.
Expectations of myself in day-to-day life. Or just, okay. This is a tough one because when you don't have a goal in mind, do you boys remember when I told you to make a vision board?
I do.
It was in this very gym.
Do you remember when I told you to make a vision board? And Taylor, rebuttal me? That was a vision board, blah, blah, blah. None of you knew what a vision board was.
Yep.
I made you Google it. And then I started giving you ideas, you know. So without a vision, it's very hard to get to a goal. Expectations of yourself, you always want to have high expectations of yourself. Whenever it's those things, right? You see it on Instagram all the time. It's, you know, think winning and you'll win. So expectations on myself has always been, my family is successful. I need to be successful. You know, I want that car. I'm going to have that car. So the expectations are always at the forefront of my mind, because I work in a service-based industry based on my performance from my clients and you know, all the little things behind it. So if you set a high expectation for yourself and you fail just below it, that's great.
Do you think external expectation has an impact on how you perform and just how you feel?
Well, you're trying to lead down the way of Rhys being a silly bugger every now and then, right? Is that where you're trying to? Is that the next one coming up?
No,
Mate, this is an unscripted podcast. There's no agenda.
I know there's no agenda, but we had a little chat. External expectations, like for me as an agent, I've got people that rely on me, owners. I've got buyers that I have to keep up with. And then I've got my own, but I've got bills, got all those sort of things. External expectations can be weighed out in lots of different ways. So yeah, that external expectations is a big thing that as you get older, you start to grasp, and you guys will get more.
But we've spoken to you about, showing up or expectation before this, and you said earlier that your grandfather is your biggest mentor and you look up to him and all that. Yep. Does their expectation play a big part into it as well?
Yeah. So family expectation is massive. So my family are all business oriented and they're very successful. So there's an expectation there of me to perform. And you've got to do it. It's like anything, you play for a coach, he wants you to perform at your top level and be the best for everyone. But yeah, my external expectations are one of myself, but also my clients, my parents, everything, It's a massive thing, and it can keep you on track. Yep. But sometimes the pressure of it can break you.
I think the biggest thing for any young bloke who's coming out of school that it's not even just an expectation, but it becomes a duty of care, to meet expectations, and you have to continue to progress one foot after the other because you're no longer a kid where you can fall back on the reliance of your parents, which you can a little bit, but you have to go out and make your own path and do your own things because in the world, you've got to be self-accountable. So everything that happens to you is your fault. And the expectation to do things is no longer a thing that is just encouraged, but it's a necessity and you have to rise to them.
Yeah, well, I think for myself and Sarge, with external expectation, we have always been quite successful or considered quite successful by our families in particular in just about everything we've done, like school, sports, anything really. And I think going into a path that not really anybody in our family has gone down before. And I don't know, it's hard because, there's that expectation to maintain for us, I suppose. And we don't know even how long that journey is before the results start to come in. I don't think really anybody else knows how far along.
People have expectations of you, but they don't usually say it. Like I've got a high level of expectation of you boys, right? Yeah. You build that, and it comes through character and it comes through, successes and expectation. All right, Jesse and I.
Yeah.
Okay. He knows what I'm capable of, so he has that expectation out of me to perform at that level. Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's an external expectation.
You do set the bar for yourself, right?
You do.
Because expectations come unconsciously, right? I feel that like respect, it's something that
is earned.
Yeah, it's earned. And people, not even having to voice it, people already have a sense of where they think you can go based off your previous results and your personality. So
that's it. And some days you're having an off day. But still showing up and giving it a crack is a big thing.
That's where it comes down to the duty of care. Even if you, like you said, you're having a shit day, if there's things that need to get done, like a big thing that you mentioned just before is even if you are playing silly buggers, that as long as the ends are being met, I suppose that play on.
Yeah, and if you don't meet those, I may have said this word a million times, but expectations, it's on yourself, and the only person you can blame is yourself. So yeah. Expectations, a big thing.
I'm excited. I'm interested to talk about this. So, anybody that knows the Rhys Gordon knows that Rhys Gordon gets silly, but you go through these seasons of being locked in and grinding and running and carrying boats and working hard, and then you'll go on this other tangent for I don't even know a month or two or whatever, where you just live it up. And what's the method to the madness there?
Well, I'm commission-only sales agent, right?
Yeah.
We live the highs and lows. It's adrenaline-based. So selling something's a big adrenaline-based, right? I've just done the biggest deal of my life, I don't know. Buddy, when you start when you're selling things and there's a couple of extra zeros on the end and your heart gets bumping and, I've just sold something to the, Gold Coast City Council. It's a big deal in my opinion, and it was a big deal for a client of mine that is a role model of mine, a mentor, and, someone I consider a best friend. So that was big, but silly buggers is never a good thing. Depends which way you do it, all right? So you guys know my silly buggers is quite often influenced by women, influenced by, big nights, all those sort of things, right?
Yes.
And this comes from a point of, we talked about how money buys happiness. When I say money buys experiences, you guys know that I can make good money in my business with what I do. And when I was a young kid, 21, I sold a lot of property and I did really well. It was a great time for everyone in real estate. So we all made good money. I had a girlfriend at the time who was absolute glamour, still have it today. So if you're watching this, you know who you are. You'd probably never watch this because you hate me to bits. But I spent a lot of money on her. I spent a lot of money on experiences. We went away every week. We were traveling all the time, and I'm still trying to work and maintain a working relationship with everyone I had as a client. But money for me at a young age shifted my dynamics of experiences. So it's like that old saying, once you fly first class, you never want to go back down to cattle.
On this topic, actually, I've got an interesting question because this is something that me and Wallace speak about quite frequently, especially at the moment. Do you think that when you're young, so say our age, even to your age, you're quite young yourself, do you think in this, say, first 5 to 10 year period of leaving school, stepping into business, whatever it be, do you think that there's room to have a lot of fun and go and do all these things? Or do you think this is the period where you just got to be fucking locked in and just really...
I thought about this last night coming into this, and I wanted to say this wholeheartedly. There's 2 ways you can do it. You can fuck around and find out, or you can just get it done.
So what Hormozy says, you're going to live up your 20s and be an underlived and experienced 30-year-old, or work up your 20s and be maybe a 5. Underexperienced.
The thing with those people and, those external influences, like we say, right, is you don't know what they did when they were a kid. And a lot of people talk behind a camera, and don't say the truth. They say they inflate it to make them sound better.
Correct. And that's something we're striving to not do because... Yeah.
But you need to have your fun, okay? I'm not going to sit here and tell you that last time you went out was when you came out with me and we had a massive night. Mate, that was like a $4,000 night, and you enjoyed this shit out of it. We had tequila that cost $200 a fucking shot. Who does that? It was great fun. People who do that with seasoned party goers and they have the money to be able to do that. But we enjoyed it.
If you want to go out and go with daughter.
Yeah, you've got to have those experiences so you know what to do and what not to do. But you also...
Yeah, it's a hard one for us because we're right at the beginning, right? And we have a lot of potential and a very clear vision for the success we want. And it's interesting because we also see these other things, not necessarily partying or that kind of shit, but we're going to move overseas and just put ourselves in all these different environments, try these new things. And it's just like the 2 pathways, right? Do we just fucking 12 hours a day just absolutely locked in?
Yep.
Or same path? I'm not saying we're going to go out and go on a completely different path, but I guess...
Dial it back and have a little bit more.
Yeah.
There's so many avenues you can go nowadays with this.
Well, there's not one right way, is there? Everybody does.
You've got to trial and error.
Yeah.
But back to silly buggers, and because I want to talk on that overseas stuff because it's big in my mind at the moment. But back to the silly bugger stuff. Girls, alcohol, those sort of, it's like that saying, and it's so true. I could not tell you how many times this has happened in my career, and this is part of the reason why I go through seasons, is it's birds. It's girls. It's girls. You know it is. So you get to a point where you make really good money, and then God will send you a woman.
Yep.
And when you're young, if you can stay away from that trap, that is the best thing that you could do for yourself.
Fucking, we're really good at it.
I know you two are. A bit too good. Yeah, it's quite funny. I love how you look at me dead in the eyes and say that.
There was no jokes there.
Yeah, but you guys know exactly how it is. Mate, for God's sake, you work with me. You guys used to come to lunch with me with birds that I used to go out with, and I'm not afraid to say this, and I couldn't care if it goes bloody out there to all the bloody chicks on the Gold Coast, but I've probably taken, 10, 12 birds out this year. Probably times by 2, maybe plus a couple more.
Rightio.
But you know.
I do.
You know. And that is my kryptonite for destruction.
Yes, we also know.
So that's what you got to stay away from. That's what I'm going to stay away from. And that's what silly buggers comes from. It comes from having the money to be able to enjoy those things, enjoy those lovely experiences that we all dream of, but I'm too young to be able to actually take it any further. So that's why it never goes anywhere.
Well, we went, as you know, me and Wallace and Moby went door knocking at Sovereign Island a few months ago, just try and get some knowledge from the ultra wealthy people there. And
With some old geezer with his Asian missus.
Richard,
What a smart guy.
Yeah, Richard, he had a 5-story house.
Are you serious? He was an old guy with an Asian missus?
I don't know if it was an Asian missus, but it was an
I
old
won't
guy.
run it past
Yeah, right,
it.
cool, yep.
Yeah, 5-story house, palm trees and pool on the roof. He was loaded.
Yeah, I know the one.
And he said to us that having money before 40 is stupid because you don't know, you can lose it much quicker than you can get it. And for me, I understand the value in the statement, absolutely, but fuck that. I want to have money in the next few years.
I have mixed feelings about that whole thing because there's 100% value in going, you gotta fucking be poor to be experienced rich. You gotta have
we
the
had this
contrast.
conversation this morning.
Correct.
Yeah.
But at the same time, why wouldn't you want to have money when you're young? Nobody else has money when they're young.
You guys know I spend money like water. You know that, yeah? Like, it's a known fact.
But
you
you're
know?
also your only young ones as well, right? Like,
Yeah.
Something that goes along with your statement, I actually listened to a podcast recently of Eman Guns, and he said he's got no respect for money at all. And the reason that is because the people who print money have no respect for it. They print it like it's fucking running from a tap. It's running exponentially. So
You're not at that level yet.
we're fucked now.
No, but you're not at this
We're
level. So you're not at this level, okay? So when you know if you lose it all, okay, this is where I get to all the time. When I was younger, when I was your age, so not your age, when I was a little bit older, and I went through that period of breaking up with that first girlfriend, the beautiful girlfriend that I had, etc., I wanted to go broke, okay, for the mere fact of feeling that pain again because I had consistent money and it felt so good and I was riding this whole life. You guys know this. I eat out every night. I don't cook. I've started cooking recently. I'm quite the chef. I'm quite the chef. But I got to a point in life where I wanted to go broke, so I had that feeling of trying to build it up again. And what I'm trying to say with this is once you know that real estate, all right, I can walk out my door and I know how to make money. I know how within 30 days of walking out my door, how I can get a sale, and I know probably where I can get it or how to do it. And when you have that capacity, that's when you lose value for money. And
Absolutely.
that's where it comes from, spending the money.
The biggest thing is, right, when something's scarce, that's when you try and protect it, where if you've got an abundant source of something, like obviously you're going to have an abundant source you can go to directly, but if you have the fucking shovel to dig for water, you can do whatever you want, really.
Yeah, you'll make the dams. Yeah. And then when the dam goes down, you just go dig another hole. Exactly.
You said you wanted to talk about the overseas thing.
Yeah. All right. Oh, I'm going to get hated for this. If you're an influencer living overseas, running your online businesses, doing shit like that overseas, okay, I'm not going to be any more straight than this. My belief, and I'm probably wrong only because I'm not doing it and I shouldn't hate on this, but I see it as a bit of a gimmick. You can't afford the lifestyle that you want to live in Australia. Okay, you want to go move over to overseas somewhere for a cheap lifestyle and try and make all this money. Mate, do the hard yards. Try and make a successful business living in Australia with the costs that we have of living, doing all those little things. Do the hard way. Don't just take the easy way of trying to live a minuscule lifestyle over in Bali.
I don't think it's...
Sorry.
I understand.
Sorry.
No, I understand. I think it's that's not the purpose of moving overseas, is to live like... You can, like, your money is going to go a long way in, like, somewhere like Southeast Asia or something, right? But the point of moving overseas is to go and have you've done it. You've experienced living in other countries and you know what it's like. And I feel like for us, it's more so to go and experience what it's like in other places around the world. Like myself,
Or just go traveling then.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's
just travel. You haven't traveled,
The difference that I guess we see in that is when you're traveling. So this is something I found on last weekend. I went camping, right? I had 24 hours off working or anything.
Yeah.
That in itself is, I feel like, enough. I don't know how for a few week period, especially with what we're trying to build and the direction we're heading in, how we're so integral in the success of our business. Like we're a fucking 2-man business. We do everything, right? So us being away from the business for a few weeks, meaning the business is off for a few weeks. So the thing in, I guess, moving away would be, number one, it's new experiences, new lifestyle, and it's just an adventure. Like you earn your stripes, right?
Yeah.
And then the second thing is being in this external environment, there's, besides the adventures that come and go, you've got nothing else to do but be locked in. So that's the idea would be another environment to have the new experiences, but also be fucking dialed in and just trying to grow this thing to the next level.
You're stupid to go away. Now, I'm 24. My last overseas holiday was when I was 18.
Yeah, no, but it's not a holiday.
No, but I'm just saying this. The last time I went overseas was 18. So the last time that I felt comfortable with going overseas without having responsibility on my back and wanting to build myself and my bank balance was when I was 18. And that's saying something. I've been in more countries than you could have had hot meals. Not really, but you get the gist. So for me, the way I view that, and take it how you will, is until I'm not comfortable enough myself to go overseas yet and feel like I deserve it because I'm not where I want to be. And that's just me. It might be different for you. And you've also got to look at the respects of what you're a service-based business at the moment still. You're still hands-on.
Oh, we're not going to, it's like, okay, this is a long way off a final decision. This is just, in the ballpark at the moment. But it's not going to happen unless we can rearrange or restructure or figure out how we can manage business. It's not a sacrifice of what we're doing now to go and do it. It's like,
it's not like real estate where you have to be present to sell the house, right?
I don't have to be. I've thought about this many times. I don't have to be here. I need another JJ. I can sit there, do all the phone calls, do all the prospecting, do the opening and closing, do all those little things. Mate, I could shift businesses if I want to. I've got the experience behind me to change it. You can adapt. But I couldn't stress it to you enough that I feel at the moment with how you guys are going, if you stay in this sort of lane that you are at the moment, within 2 years, you'll be able to go hands off. You'll have editors, you'll have videos, you'll have all this sort of stuff. You'll be able to sit back and close business, maybe from over and let's go to Bora Bora and live it up.
Is that Fiji?
No.
What's that?
I don't know. Don't embarrass me.
Look, no, it's a long way off a final decision, but
this wasn't a next week move. This is.
Well, you're scaring me. You're scaring me.
This conversation will be in the next 12 to 24 months, right? So that time frame that you speak of, we understand that there's no functioning way that we could go anywhere soon because our systems aren't built up enough. We haven't done enough, and this is what I was actually talking about before when I said, do you think when you're young you just have to be gung ho, fucking 100% fully at one thing in your fucking basement, just all everyday training, working, eating, right?
Yeah.
And I guess when I am looking at it from the perspective of having fun as well, it's not the parties, it's not all those kind of distractions, but it's something like this where it'd be moving away, still doing the same thing, just a different location, different experience kind of thing.
Yeah. So a topic I want to talk about is temptation, because we've talked about what was external expectations, and we talked about parties, talked about all those little things, we've got to keep in mind probably our audience is younger, demographic. Temptation, okay. Going back to where we were speaking about going overseas and doing all these little things, working away, traveling, anything, day-to-day activities, temptation, birds, anything. Temptation is your biggest weakness as a young guy. So you guys do very, very well at mitigating your where you get tempted towards, which I praise you guys on, but temptation can you're overseas, cheap booze.
Fucking hate alcohol. Absolutely hate it.
You say that.
I mean it.
And that's great. Mate, I went 6 months sober last year, I hated it too. But in Australian culture, you can't have fun without having alcohol. Temptations is just one thing that I want you guys to be wary of over the next couple of years. Don't fall into little traps. Don't fall for things. Have a broader perspective of women, all sorts of influences, right? Just be careful of temptation.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely. It's the biggest downfall I feel with a lot of people because it's, especially when you're young, you're successful, you're as good looking as we are, you've got big muscles, all these things that we absolutely have. It's bound to happen, right? It comes with, if you want to be an excellent person, like you want to be an alpha male, you want to excel in any field, right?
Yeah.
Your ambitions are so large that your temptations are going to be just as large. So
Oh shit, yeah.
It can be a downfall. It can be a driving force. You just got to balance it.
Yeah. Temptations. Gordo's key for the week. Temptations.
yes. So you've worked in real estate, you've lived overseas, you've made a lot of money young, you've lived it up, you've been locked in.
Not a lot of money. I've just made good money.
Good money.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the biggest lessons you've learned over all the experiences you've had?
Oh, I've touched on all of them. Like you boys know this. I look at life nowadays in such a different way when I was your age because of the experiences that I've had, the mentors that I've got.
Let me reframe the question.
Go.
If you had to tell your 17-year-old self, or just other people that are 7, not even yourself, just anybody that's like our age or one thing, what are you telling them to do?
If I wanted to be 5 times better in every aspect than I am now, what I would have done when I was a kid, I would have loved my parents more. I would have spent more time with my mum. I would have had more gratification towards the education that I was given. The places I lived in beautiful homes, would have loved those more, respected those more in the respects of, I don't know, appreciation. Yeah, exactly such. So, what else meant? I wouldn't have had so many relationships.
It sounds like everything you've listed so far is very value orientated, very connection based, with whether it's family and what you touched on now with all these relationships. And where would you say that's kind of stemmed from? Like, where do you think that
Yeah, all right. You're so spot on with saying this because it's a problem that I have in my life, and I'm not afraid to admit it. Is as a young kid, I was left alone for a lot, and that whole style of just being alone. So you guys know how many times I call you a week, want to play golf, want to do this, want to do that. It's that not fear, but it's like I enjoy other people's company. I enjoy being around places and with people. So but I can't change those things of not having my family around when I was a young kid.
Yeah.
So I can't harp on that. But when I did have them around, I should have been a little bit more present.
Yeah.
I wish I didn't party so much. Wish I did all these things, but you can't look back. That question, Wallace, is so tough to answer because if you look back on all the negative things that you've done, you're not going to go forward anywhere.
Well, we speak about. I've actually had a considerable amount of conversations about this in the last 48 hours. In that, you can't not wish for the bad things not to happen. I don't know if I got too many negatives in there, but you can't wish for the bad things to not happen because you wouldn't be who you are without them. Like people say you don't want this to happen, but you wouldn't be where you are now without the bad things happening. And I definitely understand that because everybody can look back and say, fuck, I wish I didn't do that because that resulted in a bad thing there and then. But at the end of the day, you're not in the position you are now because
without the bad, you don't see the good.
Exactly. You can't appreciate the good.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, no, I wouldn't change a thing.
It's like life's
I would not change a thing. Life spot.
I was just say like life's biggest blessings are what you perceive as the biggest curse, right? And it's not until the future that you can, as we just said, look back at those things. So it's an interesting question, isn't it? Because it's good to, I guess, guide people in the right direction. However, sometimes it's good for people to make mistakes. But I suppose you can mitigate a bit of time for people going forward. Like I'd say that the lessons you've pushed on us are not necessarily things to not do, but it's things to do. Hence, you were the person who harped on so much about you just got to start, right? And it wasn't like, okay, before you start, look for this obstacle, look for that. Don't do this because you might fail because failure is good and
you need it.
Absolutely. So I think
that was your first podcast, yeah? It was the first podcast that you brought that out.
We did.
Where I just told you to
we could bring you up about 5 minutes in.
Take action.
Yeah. Take action.
Take action. Yeah.
Action, Gordon.
It's the biggest thing you can have. Like anyone, and that point that you just raised about what would you change, wouldn't change anything.
Well, it's not about what would you change. Just
what advice, anything. I honestly, wholeheartedly can say nothing. But without experiences, you're not who you are. Without those, I would not change a thing. And I would express to you guys and anyone who watches this to not change anything about the past of your life. It's in the past for a reason, and continue to move forward with it.
Yeah.
Business, personal, whatever.
Perfect.
Well, I think that wraps up the 3rd episode of the podcast.
Got to say, big shout out to these 2 guys though. It's been an absolute honour to be here with you guys, and I love the journey that you 2 are on. So keep going with it, boys. You're doing really well.
Likewise.
Your success doesn't go unnoticed. Your hard work doesn't go unnoticed. Your ambition is you wear it on your sleeves, which is great. Just get a little bit stronger and get a little bit bigger.
Thanks, Gordon. No,
So-
thanks for coming on today.
Good to see you,
Appreciate it.
boys. Appreciate it. Good man.